In the panel, we have a diverse group of experts participating in today's panel discussion. I request the panelists to please take their seat on the dais. Shri Anand Sharma, President, India Meteorological Society, an interface between the researchers and the public. From the research side, we have Dr. Anupam Hazra, Scientist G, actively involved in monsoon mission of Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. Dr. J.R. Kulkarni, former scientist and former program manager of Cloud Aerosol Interaction and Precipitation Enhancement Experiment at Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. Now from the user community, we have Shri Himanshu Kulkarni, Executive Director of Advanced Center for Water Resource Development and Management. Now from the press, we have Srimati Manasi Saraf Joshi, Bureau Chief, Pune Times Mirror. Last but not the least, Shri Chandraketu Sharma, Assistant Commander of National Disaster Relief Force. The panel discussion will be moderated by Dr Satyaban Bishoyi Ratna, Scientist E from India Meteorological Department.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege to invite all of you on this panel discussion on weather and climate extremes, unlocking solutions through research and development. Monsoon, we know it is not just a seasonal event, but it is the part of everyday's life. We know importance of monsoon in agriculture, or importance of monsoon in economy, or its significance of day-to-day life. But this recent variability in the changes in the extremes poses a significant challenges to the society and the community. So here we have a very diverse range of panelists with a wealth of expertise. We'll try to delve into the challenges and the possible solution through their expertise for the coming years to benefit of the society. So here, as we already discussed, I will start with the panelist, Shri Anand Sharma sir, who is the president of IMS. He has a very vast experience in the operational weather and climate forecast, and now as a part of president of the IMS, he is trying to connecting science and society. Sir, I would like to first, as your talk you already explained, the recent frequency of extreme heavy rainfall in the Himalayan region. We know there is extreme rainfall in Himalayan region, but apart from that, there is many extreme events are happening in the other parts of India also, whether start Kerala or in the, we see that either Rajasthan, Gujarat, or East. It is nowhere we are living these extreme weather events. So what is the possible advancement of monitoring and predictions required for the longer term, or we can think at the possible solution for this?
Yes, I think your question is very valid. And as far as forecast, early warning is concerned, naturally, as I discussed in my presentation also, see, the first and the foremost importance is that you should have a optimal network of observatories. That's the first thing. Right now, if you talk about Himalayas, we have certain areas, we do not have observations at all. And mostly when you put the automatic weather station, you tend to choose valleys, right? So, but action is happening at the peak. And moreover, altitudinal variation is there. Like for example, if you are in Dehradun and you go to Mussoorie, right from 300 meters, it goes to 2,500 meters. And there is altitudinal variation. So unless until you have a dense network, you will not be able to capture that. Similarly, you have one side, if it's southern facing slope, more rain, other side is the rain shadow area. So you have to find out which are rain shadow areas, which are the areas where winds and moisture strikes and you get more rainfall. And as I said earlier, you need to develop mesoscale valley-based models because each valley has its own landscape. So unless until you capture that landscape through data, you cannot develop the model. So first and foremost is optimization and densification of network. That is the first thing. Yes. Second, after that you develop the models and taking into account the orography. And third, again, risk analysis parallelly you have to do. Unless until you do, because if you have to give warning, you have to develop an excellent early warning system. But again, there are different kind of weather systems. Maybe you have a thunderstorm. You can't predict it 4 days in advance. For there, you will have to give forecast even if you give half an hour or 1 hour in advance. But question comes, you suppose you have a radar and you have tracked a severe thunderstorm and you know it is moving in a particular direction. But question comes, how do you communicate to the people? Right? So I have suggested one thing, I think we should push this, that all the TV channels, it should be made mandatory that whenever a warning, say for nowcast comes, all TV channels should display it in their scrollers. Otherwise, what happens sometimes, you give them forecast, they say, nahi sir, Prime Minister ka kuch action ho gaya kuch, so we cannot cover your thing. So that is what one thing. And another thing is you have WhatsApp group, you have this thing, or you have now like US 24/7 weather channel. So I think there is again need, now they have again Mission Mausam, they have 2,000 crores, why can't have their 24/7 TV channel? Yes. So that is one thing. So I think you have to fight on many fronts.
So it's very interesting to see that Sri Anand Sharma ji very nicely explained the importance of monitoring, prediction as well as communication that will give to the overall solution for these challenges posed by these extreme weather events. So now I would like to move on to our next speaker, Dr. Anupam Hazra ji. So he is a very, whenever there is a term, it is a extreme weather events means there is a role of cloud. So he has a very vast experiencing to work on the cloud. But whenever we are talking about the extreme weather events, we are talking that due to the climate change, the many factors have changed that is contributing to the variability of these extremes. So I would like to ask Dr. Anupam Hazra sir, so what is the role of cloud aerosol interactions on this monsoon rainfall intensity as well as variability? Because India is a very huge geographical region. We cannot make it as a small unit or single unit. So there is we see that some parts of India it is flooding and some part of India it is really a prolonged drought we are seeing. So what could be the role of this cloud aerosol interaction in these terms of changing climate?
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank organizer for inviting me here. And as Anand Sharma ji already mentioned, the observation is the first and foremost thing. Yes. As a modeler, so now what's the problem we are facing? Even we means the operational agency IMD also facing to give a extreme rainfall prediction where we stuck up. So basically in the climate change scenario, so people are talking about the warming, so it is supplying the more moisture, that's true. But so the large scale driver that prepare the stage, but when it comes, the cloud will form, then who is the driving force? So the cloud will form. So then the aerosol come into the picture. And as you know, there is a various type of aerosols. So marine aerosol, then continental aerosols, and again we are talking about the CCA, IN, GCCN. So they are different type of aerosols. They are acting as a nuclei differently over different parts of. So there is a heterogeneity of the. So that's why there is a challenging. So we have to understand the challenge of the model. So that should reach to the community also. Number one. Number two, that we are borrowing the model which is developed outside. So we are not developed any model in India. But what we can do? We can develop the physical process here because we have a lot of observations. So if we use our observation and fit into the model, so that will be the Indian model. So that will be Make in India. So the proper aerosol we have to be incorporated in the model because the aerosol can enhance, which we called the enhance of rainfall, another suppression of the rainfall. So what type of, whether it is invigorating the cloud and convection, what might happen in Kedar, might happen in the Kerala. So we don't know. So Kerala might be the more sea salt, more Gcesian, and Kedar might be more Cesian. So that type of investigation is required, number one. And number two, we have to improve the model physics based on our own observation through cloud, land surface, radiation, as well as the boundary layer. So I can suggest that many young researchers here to come up with the hypothesis, put up a hypothesis, and then test that hypothesis in many numerical model available freely. And then you can emphasize on that we have the observation, validate with the observation, and you are the career you are building up. So you can give some suggestion also to the other researcher and the modelers how to improve the model. So improvement of the model should come up from the young generations. So that's my point.
Thank you, sir. Very nice comments, point you have brought out. One is that even if we require the development model, so to even for the development model means for validating, we need to have observations. And that also, not only that we can validate the observations, but we are talking many of the models we just discussed, it is developed in the outside of India. But another point we focused this indigenously development of model. So we know because many times in the doctor terminologies, one medicine will not come for all the problems. So similarly here, we know that as per this India's, because surrounded by all the ocean and the land contrasting and the geographic contrasting, many factors influencing, as you suggested, many research need to be improved to solve this issue. Thank you very much, sir, for very nice contribution. So as you are continuously discussing extreme weather events, so now see what causes the problems, what contributing to the problems of extreme weather events. One is actually the flooding. And recently, today we discussed many factors related to the landslides. Because one of the example we seen the very recently, this monsoon season, it has happened, the Wayanad landslide, which caused many loss of life. Apart from that, there is a landslides or flooding event happened in this northern part of India, which Anand Sharma sir has brought out. But as we know, our Dr. J.R. Kulkarni sir is deeply involved with the prediction of landslide. So, but we don't know what is its practical applications and how it can be implemented for the real-time application, real-time predictions. Otherwise, just keeping in the research is not solving to the real problem of the society. So, sir, could you please bring out how it can be implemented for the not only in a specific region, the landslide happening in the different parts of India, what could be the possible solution for the predictions that will benefit the society?
Thank you. So the landslide prediction we give, not only we give only the prediction, but part also some action to be taken by disaster management people. So we give the prediction 1 week in advance. So there is sufficient time to prepare themselves, the people who are in vulnerable area, to get ready for this challenge to be coming and other things. So this is one thing what we are doing, and we are not only doing as a research work, we are giving our forecast to the press, to the media, and also possible to the local people also. So far we were depending on the TRMM rainfall, But now, this last few years, the TRMM rainfall is average over 2.5 by 2.5 kilometer grid. So it is not a point rainfall. So we have installed, set up rain gauges at vulnerable areas, and there the students are motivated to take the observations and send it, communicate to us, and then we apply our model. On 1 week advance, we give some warning for landslide prediction. This is one point. Another point is what she raised point of cloud aerosol interaction. This is a subject which is up to my heart because we have conducted experiment, CAPEX experiment for 5 years, and we have studied the cloud aerosol interaction all over the India and developed some understanding of this one. Where the aerosols are more, it will suppress the rain, it will enhance the rain, in which condition, which are synoptic conditions, which are responsible for enhancing the rainfall or decreasing the rainfall. So much understanding is there. Number of papers have been published and our report is available in IITM. Third point is the extreme events increasing. We are now in the era of climate change, and 1980 onwards, climate change effects have been being seen. So the total rainfall has not been changed. The average remains same so far. What we understand is the number of extreme events are increasing. So we need to know how these are increasing and what is the frequency distribution of these events. This is one point to be taken. Already some work is done, but that is not enough. Then the other point is the extreme event, regarding extreme event and the optimum rain gauge network. To capture the extreme event, we should have the optimum rain gauge network. Sometime back in IITM, there was a study done by Dr. Mule, under Mule, and we have published one report to set up, how to set up a optimum rain gauge network to capture the rainfall events and other things. I think that will be starting point, and in the new scenario we have to do it again. That is another thing. And regarding monsoon, every monsoon is different. It is said on the platform, every platform, and it is challenging also. So we need to focus on the understanding the basics of monsoon. Earlier there were some theoretical studies by
Sir, do you think because already there is a identified zone of landslide prone regions, so do you think that there is a specialized forecast required or specialized monitoring system is required for those landslide prone regions? Because there may be some focus, because landslide is not happening everywhere in India. There is some landslide prone region. So do you know any specific focus is required so that it can be better
focus.
predicted?
Yes, I will answer your question. There is no department or no section in IMD or geography department which works on the landslide. Okay, so some studies are done in geography department, but they are sporadic studies, and they do not focus on the prediction part. They discuss only the after effects of the landslide. So if you want to do the landslide prediction, you need to have some group of people who will take this challenging work in IMD or IITM or any university and other thing, and then formulate a strategy to focus this one. And mostly they are occurring in the month of July and August. As I shown in my slide, only 10 to 15% they occur in June, that is at the onset period, and only 10% in the September period. So mostly 70 to 80% landslide occur in July and August. That is the thing. And data is not available easily, because landslide occurs somewhere in a village or in a taluka place, and it will be reported in a newspaper of that region only. It will not be reported in the national newspaper or state newspaper. That is the problem with the collection of data. So the central agency is required for doing all the work.
Thank you, sir. Very, yeah, please. Yes.
This mandate of landslide prediction is with the GSI. Now, so IMD doesn't do it. IMD can only provide the inputs.
Yes.
But the mandate of predicting landslide is with the GSI.
Yes, yes.
But GSI is also not predicting. That is the thing. Yes.
So who will be the responsible agency that prediction of landslide?
That-
These are the known as gray areas.
Gray areas.
Flash flood. Flash flood is actually Central Water Commission is not doing it. So IMD started doing it. These are gray areas.
Exactly.
Gray areas, what you have to develop partnerships.
Partnerships.
There is need for partnerships in predicting flash flood with CWC and similar organizations.
Exactly.
GSI. And similarly for landslide also, these organizations can partner and do it. And I remember when I was in job, so that time GSI team came and they wanted the help of IMD to take up few pilot projects, maybe one in Darjeeling Hills and one more, I think, somewhere Sikkim. So I think with
Yes.
partnership we can solve.
Yeah, when this matter of partnership is coming, I would like to mention that there is a framework which is initiated by World Meteorological Organization, that is National Framework for Climate Services. Under this NFCS, that is the main, one of the main desired task is to bring all the stakeholders together. So that is the what many countries started implementing, developing and implementing this NFCS. And last year, IMD also, because as per the WMO mandate, this NFCS program need to be led by this National Meteorological and Hydrological Services, which is IMD in India. So IMD invited all the stakeholders to how to bring together. Because one of the best examples is how the multi-agency working together is the best example that is happening is the cyclone related to death. Because why the 1999, there were 10,000 people cyclone died. But recently in India, the NDRF and the early warning systems monitoring prediction is advanced to so level that our death count related to any of these cyclone events, we can see it is less than either 10, 12, 15 like that way. But that is one of the best or greatest achievement in the multi-agency working together. So similarly, if landslides or many other factors, we need to identify where the multi-agency need to work together for the benefit of the society. So I want to just highlight the order of the speakers. So now whenever we are speaking to the landslide, the next most important things is wherever there is a disaster, we can see there is a role of National Disaster Force, NDRF. So not only meteorological disaster, any other disaster, either it is a cyclone, flood, fire, anywhere we can see, there will be immediately within a few hours, we will see that NDRF people on the road. But we want to know how you are using any weather and climate extremes in terms of your rescue operation in the NDRF, and what more you think you need required from the service provider side. Because you need to, because whenever you demount, this is not right, this is not right, we more clarity or more user-specific information is required. Anything you can highlight, that should be a very important point in these panel discussions.
Jai Hind. First of all, from the whole NDRF family, I would like to thank you and extend my deep gratitude for you people who are, what I can say is highly expert professionals and panelists from your sides, and we had never had such a beautiful place where all the people from meteorological and other people are there. Even PhD students, researchers, all are putting up their papers. So first of all, thank you from our side. And for IMS Pune episode, that is best thing. When it comes to responders, we are the ground professional responders of all disasters, whether it is natural, man-made, and whether it is both, means even what we call is technical, means naturally triggered man-made disasters also. And we have, as Kulkarni sir has said, landslide. So myself was present in Eshalwadi landslide. It was 2.8 kilometers steep and 800 meters where only one, even two rescuers from fire services, they were, they themselves were become victim of that incident. And we cannot carry at that time equipments, heavy machinery and other. Only manual equipments we could take up to that place. So such kind of things do happen to us, and even in Pune, Lavasa also. And there are, when we talk about landslides, in 2014, Malingaon, 2015, Ambegaon, 2019, 2021, Taliye, 2023, Ishalwadi. This is all about landslides only in Maharashtra. When we talk about other places also, there is Himachal Pradesh and other. So what we come to know about the very, sir was talking about, when we get, there are role of first responders. First responder is always the community, the place where the disaster is taking place. So first of all, we will have to educate. Community awareness programs must be there, and other things, means what we are having, all the data with us and the agencies which are into rescue work. It should be to the people who are the first responders. The first responders will always be the villagers, the local people, the local police and others. Then we come to know about the incidents. And when it comes to flooding situation and cyclone, India has already done great. And after 2002, before it was 2002, it was a response-centric approach towards disaster. And later on, after 2002, 2005, when DM Act came, we have a incident response system where an incident commander is there, responsible officers are there, and we have a holistic approach, well coordinated, where we have preparedness, planning, and other things. So once IMD, we have, when we talk about NDRF Pune, for the last 2 years, in consonance and coordination with IMD, even sir and many, sir is sitting over there, they have come to us about early warning systems. They have given us the Mausam app, others, and what they have taught us, we have given to the rescuers. And whenever we are going to community awareness programs or capacity building programs, we do extend these technologies and what are your aspects to do's and don'ts during disasters, we give to the people. So we have, for the last decade, improving, but we are very far behind Japan and other countries who are doing great in these disaster situations. We do respond, but literally the people who are disabled, elderly people, children, they are the worst hit during disasters. And if we have got the predictions from IMD, for the last 2 years, I have myself been seeing very particularly about what were the messages of IMD, how they have interpreted, and what we have to do. We have evacuated many people. If in 2024, we are talking about Kolhapur, in 2019, the losses was quite, means ki, you can say huge number of death tolls were there. In 2021 also. But in 2024, we had not a single death in Kolhapur.
That's really appreciable.
This is because of the holistic approach of all the professionals, departments who are working over there. Especially, I would like to thank you, IMD, for their previous alert messages which come to our all rescuers mobile. Even NDMA is programming new apps on which even a single message is there of flooding or any such type of situation, they flash on. So we are improving, but we are far behind other advanced countries. And
thank you.
We will, I would, from point of view of NDRF, will always reiterate this thing. Okay, sir, you are the people who are doing great job and would like to see more advancement, more research work from your side, so that the number of death tolls which we see on ground, because I have just shared Sapna Madam and other persons who are in Irshalwadi nearby to that area, and they are saying ki this can be avoided or not. So in cyclone situation, post tsunami or super cyclone, we have done great. In flood situation, we have done great. But since disasters cannot be controlled, it is not, nature has its own way of working, but we need to work more, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
very much, Chandraketu Sharmaji, for your great job for many disasters that is happening in India and serving the lives of people. So now I would like to ask Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, sir, who is from ACWADAM, Pune. They have been working for the water management for different parts of India for many decades. So we have seen that whenever we are talking about the weather and climate extremes, we are talking about the high spatio-temporal variability. We see the floods and we see the droughts in the different parts of India. So what could be the long-term solution that challenges associated with water management in India?
So let me take this opportunity first of all to thank the IMD, the IITM and the association for inviting me. It's almost coming back home because I started my career here in the geology department in 1983. I left the university in 96 to start ACWADAM. And ACWADAM is really an organization that is positioned at the interface of knowledge, praxis and policy. We work on the singular component of groundwater and groundwater management in India. And due to our work over the last 25 years, I have often been pulled into policy spaces on trying to sort of wriggle into policy spaces on, I was part of the drafting committee which drafted out the 2020 draft national water policy. And so I won't go into that. But I think coming back to your question, I'll give my response in 3 or 4 different sections, very short sections. One of the first things we did at ACWADAM was we went to IMD. And we actually bought, it was not easy, but we bought data from IMD at that time. It was very expensive at that time, but we bought it because that was ACWADAM's first investment in data. We bought 100-year data from 1901 to 2000. This was in the year 2001. We actually took that data and it was district-wise data. We plotted that data. We did a trend analysis in something around 2002 or 2003. And we found an interesting pattern. I've shown it to Professor Muzumdar. What that pattern has actually indicated is trends, and it's a very, very interesting pattern. And what we found was large parts of, if we divide the country into 2 halves, the western part was largely showing increasing trends, largely. Huge parts of eastern India and Himalayas were showing decreasing trends. And we did a variety of analysis. Now, this was one of the most fascinating data sets that I have taken into policy spaces. And therefore, my second point is, there are 2 things which have happened in India. One thing is changes in monsoon, and I think I've been educated really well today in terms of the higher end stuff. The second one is the groundwater story. And I'm going to put this question back to you. Do you really know what has changed in India over the last 60 years vis-a-vis groundwater? You know the amount of groundwater that has actually been extracted over the last 70 years. India is the largest user of groundwater in the world today. We extract 1/4 of the annual global extraction that happens over the world. Our increase since independence is 25 times. Now you bring rainfall changes, trends and patterns along with the changes in groundwater, and you have a double whammy. Because you have rainfall related impacts, and today we've largely talked of floods and landslides. What about droughts? Droughts is a very, very slow killer. It's not an instantaneous disaster. And droughts have a phenomenal influence in what happens to groundwater. So that's the first part. The second part is this monsoonal pattern. We also overlaid to river basins. And again, we found that large parts of catchments of large river basins, including the Ganga, have seen a significant change in monsoonal precipitation, which has led to, along with groundwater, led to two consequences. One is peak flows have gone up, but low flows have gone down. And in most rivers in India, especially peninsular rivers, which have significantly higher trends, have seen increasing trends in the catchment areas, have seen reduced flows because of the groundwater story. So I'll stop with my third point. So I talked of groundwater, I talked of rivers. My third point is the work that Professor Muzumdar and his team have taken up at IITM. And I want to specially mention that. One of the biggest gaps in water research in India is on soil moisture. And soil moisture, I think, is the third largest repository of non-atmospheric water on Earth. First is the oceans, second is groundwater, third is soil moisture. Soil moisture may actually be second because soil moisture experiences very different kinds of fluxes. I think it's going to be useful to bring in monsoonal precipitation and climate data to look closely at what happens to soil moisture and what is the significance of soil moisture. And as a closing comment, I would actually add to the landslide study, because we were part of a very quick landslide study on about 100 landslides in 2021 in 4 districts of Maharashtra. Our estimate, and again I'm going to hit you with a shocking figure, our estimate of landslides in 4 districts in Maharashtra, can you imagine the number? Small ones, large ones, those that affected populations, those that did not, those happened in forests. It's anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 landslides in a matter of 14 hours. You could look up our ACWADAM website and look for the landslide report that we submitted. We have actually brought in the concept of using groundwater, because groundwater in India is seen only as, हाँ कुआं बनाओ, borewell लगाओ और पानी निकालो. But the science of groundwater can actually be used in better prediction, in better mapping of the vulnerability of landslides, disasters like landslides and even floods and droughts, if we correlate it very well with the Indian monsoons. So I'll stop at that.
Thank you very much, sir, for bringing interesting point that how these challenges. ACWADAM, yes, obviously. Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for bringing out very importance of this water management in India and its for the futures. Now, next I would like to invite to speak Ms. Srimati Manasi Saraf Joshi, who is a journalist. We know that role of media in the communicating the risk and impacts of extreme weather events. And they are the people who can bridge the gap between the scientific discoveries and it's the public understanding. Because there is a lot of events are happening that could have helped the general public, but there is a many communication gap, or there is a lack of basic understanding by the general public. Informations are available. So sometimes these informations are not translated in right way. So to do this, actually media plays whatever the success so far we are seeing in the society's benefit, media plays a very important role. But what more media can help so that more benefited for the society? Please highlight that, madam.
I thank the organizers for inviting me here. Actually, as you said, and sir also mentioned that we should have 24/7 channel for weather prediction and all. When I started my journalism career in Pune 20 years back, weather or covering these events, we had no separate beats. We have beats in journalism, so education, crime, court, and all, like that. So that time, weather was not a beat. Recently, maybe from 2015 onwards, we have this separate beat where journalists can go and cover such events. Many a times we are journalists, we are not experts. So we face problem while reporting it. On the other hand, the researchers, the scientists, the institutes, they do not come up and they do not tell us what exactly is happening. We just get a press release and we have to pass on the information based on it. If we call up people, then they will say, this is not my area, you talk to someone else. But that person doesn't mention whom should we talk to. So if it's related to floods, we don't know who are the experts. If it's related to landslides, we don't know who are the experts. Still, Pune is a better city because we have IMD, IITM, and many national institutes here. So we can get in touch with them. But at other parts of the country, it's very difficult to get through the researchers and the scientists. Until and unless they come up, they are vocal, we cannot do our work. Because even if we write, we are not the experts. We may pass on the wrong information, and it may create more disasters. It can be a more disastrous thing. So, while reporting it, it's the scientists and the media both play an important role. The researchers, the scientists, they should be more vocal and they should come up and they should tell us. And then we can, interpret it and pass on to the public.
Okay. So, yes, yes.
The beat started in 2015. Dehradun, the local media, they started in 2004-5.
Oh, but maybe Pune, when I started, I was covering education beat. So the education reporter was given the responsibility to go to IMD. In fact, we used to call up and the station officer or the security guard would pick up the phone and they would tell us about what is the temperature. Because in Pune, we used to cover only weather during winters. Because, the city has cool temperature and kind of thing. Such extreme events were not there by that time.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point, madam. Recently, as IMD or many our meteorological related organization, we are keep organizing media workshop where we provide training to the media on different aspects of weather, climate, predictions, and its various societal application in different sector in agriculture, water resources, disaster management. And Indian Meteorological Societies plays a very important role to conduct such a workshop, and it has a comparatively little more freedom to bring the expertise and pass the information through IMSP channel to this to the media. And in IMSP in Pune chapter also, we are planning many such workshops in the coming months, so that we think that all the journalist group within this our regions. Because last year, just before a monsoon, we organized such a workshop. But we'll very soon we'll plan to conduct such a training from the media, so that will be a help actually. Thank you very much for the all panelists. We know the topics is a very huge. If we required to discuss in detail, at least we require 2 to 3 hours. But it is a very long day, and almost the participants are waiting for the closure of this workshop. So with this, I thank all these panelists for their very vast experience and sharing their knowledge and experience with the audience here. And just one question or comments, I am got request from our audience. Please.
Yeah, so this is a question to Anand Sharma sir, J.R. Kulkarni sir, Anupam Hazra sir. All throughout most of our STEM-oriented meteorology conferences, it's most of the focus is on us scientists telling what are our challenges, what are we doing, etc., etc. But from the panel discussion, it appears that there are gaps where we are speaking and we don't know if whatever we are speaking is enough of an information for other groups, like what sir has mentioned, what ma'am has mentioned, even what Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni has mentioned. So would it help to have a program which is dedicated to listening from the groups who are at the receiving end of the information? And an embedded question in that is to identify the concept of stakeholders, or modify the concept of stakeholders to include people who are actually on ground working beyond, say, just rescue missions. So for example, ASHA workers who work in extremely vulnerable places, working through floods to ensure that people in remote areas get nutrition, get vaccination, get medical help. Would it help to create, or what steps can be taken to create a program which will cater to listening to them rather than only the scientists speaking? Is that a possibility, and how would we want to go about it?
Yes, absolutely. See, IMD has already started, stakeholders conferences, user conferences. So we, suppose they're a farmer, we exclusively hold workshop for the farmers, where we invite the farmers, listen to them, what are their demands, what do they expect from us, right? Similarly, for aviation, we invite them. So depending on the, requirement, we can hold this kind of user conferences, and IMD is already doing it. Now IMS also we can plan. That is what we said first. Next workshop we'll hold is for the media. So we have already done for media also. We have done workshop. As I said, IMD says light rain possible at isolated places. Now there are, one is light rain. What is light rain? Possible. What is the meaning of possible? At isolated places, what is the meaning of isolated places? We think we know it, but does that general public know what does it mean? तो उसको सिंपल भाषा में बताना है मीडिया को, इसलिए मीडिया को बताना है जो हम नहीं तो नॉर्मली क्या होता है, हमने बोला बारिश, वो लिखेंगे रेन पॉसिबल, हो सकता है हमने कहा लाइकली और विल, each has inbuilt probability into it. So we have to tell the media. That's what I used to do when I was in Dehradun. So he said, sir, फिर possible है? मैंने कहा नहीं, मैंने बोला likely या will बोला है, उसकी probability ज़्यादा है. तो वही हमें बताना पड़ेगा मीडिया को कि भाई ये हमारा मतलब इसका ये है, और नेचुरली उनके पास इन्फॉर्मेशन जाएगी तो और अच्छे सिंपल भाषा में आम जनता तक पहुंचा पाएंगे. तो बिल्कुल सही बात है. वो यूज़र कॉन्फ्रेंसेज IMD हैज़ ऑलरेडी टेकन अप. अब IMS, और ये स्पेशली 150th ईयर है IMD का, तो हम लोग इसमें चाह रहे हैं कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इस तरह की वर्कशॉप करें और सप्लीमेंट करें जो IMD काम कर रहा है. हमारा गोल दोनों का मिलकर वही है कि हम सोसाइटी के जो हैं, जो अच्छा वेदर हो तो उसका फ़ायदा उठाएं लोग, और ख़राब मौसम है तो उसके नुकसान से बचें. तो गुड वेदर कोड एंड बैड वेदर कोड. और दूसरा ये है कि आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू to please start factoring weather information into your day-to-day planning, and be weather-wise and climate smart, and become resilient and reduce your climate risks.
Thank you, sir. Due to time limitation, I think we can take more discussion on it, but I got request of one student's comment, please. So let's give one chance to the student.
Hello, sir. My question is also to the same three. So my question is that when coming to the prediction of the extremes, be it rainfall or temperature or whatever, what should be given more priority, like predicting its intensity or predicting its spatial location? Like when we look for a research problem, which is the thing that should be given more importance, or what we should focus more on? Or is there any way that both of this can be achieved together?
Absolutely. See, I'll tell you the attributes of a good forecast. You want about prediction, isn't it? So there are certain attributes of a good weather forecast. What are those good attributes? First thing is should be timely. Naturally, if I tell you something and which is before the event happening, then it is useful to you, timely. Then next is it should be location specific. Location, where it is going to happen, whether it is going to be in Shivaji Nagar or it is going to be somewhere else. The third is should be accurate. If it is not accurate, it has no meaning. Third. And fourth is it should be impact based. That means what kind of impact it's going to. I said, IMD said, moderate rain. A moderate rain could be from something like 35 to 64 millimeters of rain. And if it's a low-lying area, it could lead to waterlogging or flooding. So I am telling you also कि भाई ये बारिश होगी तो कुछ जो low-lying area है वहाँ पे waterlogging हो सकता है. अब naturally अब आपके पास टाइमली इंफॉर्मेशन मिल गई, लोकेशन स्पेसिफिक मिल गई, एक्यूरेट हो गई, इम्पैक्ट भी बता दिया. नाउ दैट फोरकास्ट इज एक्शनेबल फोरकास्ट. नाउ इफ समबडी हैज टू रेस्पॉन्स, एमसीडी को रेस्पॉन्स करना है, आपके पूना उनको रेस्पॉन्स करना है या किसी और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को रेस्पॉन्ड करना है, तो दे कैन टेक एक्शन नाउ बिकॉज देयर इज ए क्लैरिटी. और सबसे बड़ी बात है ये जो बोल रहे हैं हम सब, जो सिंपल भाषा में हो, आपका मराठी यहाँ है तो मराठी में सिंपल भाषा में बता देना है, तो किसी को कोई कन्फ्यूजन नहीं होगा, कोई एम्बिग्यूटी नहीं होगा, इट विल बी एक्शनेबल. So if you have these attributes, then it will be a good weather forecast, and it is possible.
Thank you, sir, for bringing this important point. With this, I thank all the panelists for their valuable contribution and valuable comments, and I also thank all the audience for their patience in learning and participating in this discussion. We would like to request you to stay the panelists on the dais for a while. It will be felicitated by the organizer.
We would like to honor the panelists with a memento as they have taken out their valuable time from their busy schedule to join this discussion. May I request the Mulan Majumdar, sir, to please hand over the memento to the panelists. Dr. Anupam Hazra. Dr. J.R. Kulkarni. Shri Himanshu Kulkarni. Srimati Manasi Saraf Joshi. Shri Chandraketu Sharma from NDRF.